This is Antarctica, a continent untouched and unforgiving. Here the wind does not whisper, it hunts. Storms rise without warning, swallowing the horizon, erasing direction, turning the world into moving white. Snow cuts sideways through the air. Visibility collapses. The land disappears. Temperatures fall to -80, sometimes -89 degrees Celsius. Cold so intense it hardens metal, cold that steals warmth from flesh in minutes. In this place, the human body is fragile. Exposure is a countdown. Mistakes are not forgiven. Ice stretches endlessly in every direction. Mountains frozen in silence, shadows carved in blue and white. There are no trees to break the wind, no shelter to soften the cold. Only space, vast and indifferent. The ice groans beneath the pressure of its own weight. Cracks travel slowly across the surface like wounds opening on an ancient skin. This frozen continent is not still. It is alive, restless, moving. And within this immensity, a single human presence becomes almost invisible. A figure reduced to scale, swallowed by distance, surrounded by nothing but cold and time. Antarctica is the coldest place on Earth and the loneliest. There are no cities here, no roads, no escape. Even the research stations glow faintly against the darkness, fragile islands of light in an ocean of ice. Beyond them lies only isolation, absolute and unbroken. Seen from above, the curve of the planet reveals how far this land sits from everything familiar. This is not just the bottom of the world. It feels like the end of it. And yet, within this frozen silence, life endures. To understand Antarctica, we must first face its emptiness. Antarctica is a land of contradiction. A continent built almost entirely from ice, yet home to the driest desert on Earth. Here in the heart of the frozen South lies a place where snow almost never falls. Where ice does not melt. Where water exists everywhere, yet remains forever out of reach. These are the dry valleys of Antarctica. At first glance, the landscape feels wrong. Bare rock stretches across the ground, cracked and lifeless, stripped of snow and color. The surface is hard, sharp, ancient. There are no rivers carving the land, no rain softening the stone. Only silence and wind. This is one of the most arid places on the planet. The reason lies not in the absence of ice, but in the behavior of air. Powerful katabatic winds pour down from the polar plateau, accelerating as they descend. They rip moisture from the atmosphere, sweeping away any snow that dares to fall. What little ice forms is scoured clean, leaving nothing behind. Antarctica holds nearly 70% of the world's fresh water. Locked in ice, thicker than mountains. And yet here in the dry valleys, liquid water is almost non-existent. The paradox is complete. A desert not of heat, but of cold. The ground has not felt rain for millions of years. Standing here feels like standing on another planet. The colors are muted alien. Rust-red soil, ash-gray stone. Shadows stretch unnaturally long beneath a pale sky. There is no vegetation to soften the view, no sound to offer comfort. This place does not feel like Earth. In fact, scientists come here to study Mars. The dry valleys are one of the closest analogs to the Martian surface anywhere on our planet. The extreme cold, the dryness, the thin atmosphere. Even the chemistry of the soil mirrors what we see on the red planet. What survives here survives at the very edge of possibility. And yet, life exists. Not in obvious forms, not in forests or fields, but hidden, protected, inside rocks beneath translucent stone. Microscopic organisms cling to existence. They feed on trace moisture invisible to human senses. They wait, they endure, they adapt. In Antarctica, survival is not about abundance. It is about precision. And then, something extraordinary appears. At the edge of the Taylor Glacier, the ice begins to change color. Against the endless white, a dark stain emerges. Slowly, deliberately, a liquid spills from the glacier's face. Flowing like a wound opened in the ice. It is deep red, almost the color of blood. This is Blood Falls. For more than a century, explorers stood frozen before this site, unable to explain it. Some believed it was algae, others feared it was decay. The image was unsettling, almost violent. A glacier bleeding into the frozen desert. But the truth is far stranger. Beneath the Taylor Glacier lies a hidden lake, sealed beneath ice for millions of years. Cut off from sunlight, deprived of oxygen, isolated from the world above. Within this dark, pressurized environment, life found a way. Microorganisms survive here by feeding on iron trapped in ancient seawater. They do not breathe oxygen. They do not rely on light. They exist in a world utterly hostile to everything we understand about life. When this iron-rich water escapes the glacier and meets the open air for the first time in millions of years, a chemical reaction occurs. The iron oxidizes, and the ice turns red. What looks like blood is not death. It is life. Life that has endured in complete darkness. Life that has adapted beyond imagination. Life that challenges everything we believe about where existence can take hold. Blood Falls is not a warning. It is a revelation. It tells us that Antarctica is not empty. It is not dead. It is simply precise, selective, unforgiving. Only the most resilient survive here. And those that do so silently. Across the dry valleys, time behaves differently. Change is slow. Movement is rare. A footprint can remain for decades. A rock displaced by wind may not move again for centuries. This is a world governed by patience. And yet beneath the stillness, processes continue. Ice flows, microbes metabolize. Chemistry reshapes the land molecule by molecule. Antarctica is not frozen in time. It is evolving, just at a pace humans struggle to perceive. In this frozen desert, scientists glimpse Earth's distant past, and perhaps humanity's future beyond it. Worlds without warmth, without rain, without forgiveness. Worlds where survival demands total adaptation. Antarctica shows us what happens when water is everywhere. But life can never truly reach it. It reminds us that abundance does not guarantee survival. That presence does not mean access. And that life, when pressed to the extreme, finds ways to endure we are only beginning to understand. Here at the coldest edge of the planet, the desert teaches its final lesson. Survival is not about comfort. It is about change. And in the frozen silence of Antarctica, adaptation is everything. In the heart of the Antarctic winter, when darkness tightens its grip and temperatures plunge beyond imagination, life does not retreat. It gathers. As the ocean freezes solid and the wind scours the surface of the ice, a procession begins. From distant waters, figures emerge against the white horizon. Upright, steady, unyielding. Emperor penguins. They walk into the cold, not away from it. This is the only bird on Earth that chooses to breed in the deepest winter, in the most hostile environment known to life. While other creatures flee the darkness, the emperor penguin steps directly into it, driven by a rhythm older than fear. The ice beneath their feet is young and unstable. The air is lethal. Temperatures can fall below -60 degrees Celsius, while winds slice through feathers with relentless force. In these conditions, exposure alone can kill within minutes. And yet, they come. For weeks, the males march inland away from the relative safety of the sea, toward breeding grounds etched into instinct. When the females lay their single egg, something extraordinary happens. The responsibility passes entirely to the fathers. Each male carefully balances the egg on his feet, lifting it away from the ice, protecting it beneath a fold of warm skin. If it touches the ground even briefly, the embryo will freeze and die. From this moment on, the male will not eat. For more than 2 months, he will remain here, standing on the ice, enduring darkness, hunger, and storms without moving. Fat reserves slowly disappear. Muscle weakens. Strength fades. Still, he does not abandon his post. This is not instinct alone. It is devotion under extreme pressure. As the winter deepens, the penguins huddle together, forming a living wall against the cold. Thousands of bodies press close, rotating slowly, allowing each individual a turn at the center where warmth gathers. Cooperation becomes survival. Isolation becomes death. The Antarctic wind howls above them. Snow buries their backs. Ice forms on feathers. And still, they wait. When spring finally returns, light spills cautiously across the horizon. At the same moment, the females return from the sea, their bodies replenished, carrying food for the newly hatched chicks. The timing must be perfect. Too early and the chick starves. Too late and the father collapses from exhaustion. In Antarctica, precision is breathtaking. Beyond the penguin colonies beneath the ice itself, another ruler moves. Weddell seals live where the sea meets the frozen ceiling above. They carve breathing holes through ice thicker than concrete, maintaining access to air with their teeth. Their world is one of darkness and sound, where echoes guide movement and survival depends on memory. These seals can dive deeper than 500 meters, holding their breath for over an hour. They navigate a maze of ice from below. One wrong turn, and there is no surface to return to. Their bodies are built for this realm. Thick layers of blubber conserve heat. Blood flow slows. Oxygen is rationed with remarkable efficiency. In the stillness beneath the ice, they glide like shadows. And they are not low. From the depths rise shapes even more formidable. Orcas, killer whales, arrive in coordinated pods hunting with intelligence and strategy. They communicate constantly, adapting techniques passed down through generations. In Antarctica, they work together to create waves that wash seals from ice floes, turning the frozen landscape itself into a weapon. These are apex predators in a world that tolerates no weakness. Yet even they are bound by the ice. Every hunt depends on timing, on cracks forming, on leads opening, on access to water that may vanish overnight. The ice dictates when they feed and when they must wait. Here, dominance does not mean control. It means adaptation. From the smallest chick balanced on frozen feet to the largest predator slicing through black water, life in Antarctica exists on a narrow margin. Every success is temporary. Every failure is final. What makes these creatures extraordinary is not their strength, but their endurance. They do not conquer the ice, they endure it. They have evolved to read subtle signals, the sound of shifting flows, the feel of wind on feathers, the faint echo beneath the surface. They move when the ice allows. They wait when it does not. Antarctica strips chimp down to its essentials. There is no abundance here, no forgiveness, no excess, only balance. But that balance is fragile. As temperatures slowly rise and ice forms later each year, the rhythms these animals depend on begin to shift. Breeding grounds change, feeding routes move. Ice that once held firm now breaks too soon, or not at all. For the emperors of the ice, the margin grows thinner. And yet, they persist. Against darkness, against hunger, against cold so severe it reshapes flesh and bone. In their struggle, we see something familiar. A reminder that survival is not guaranteed by poor, but by resilience. And in the frozen heart of the world, these emperors stand as living proof that even at the edge of existence, life will fight to remain. Antarctica does not forget. Long after footprints vanish and camps collapse into ice, the continent remembers those who dared to cross it. Their presence lingers, not in monuments or cities, but in silence. At the dawn of the 20th century, Antarctica became the stage for one of the most tragic races in human history. A race not for land or riches, but for meaning. The South Pole. Two men stood at the center of this obsession. Robert Falcon Scott of Britain and Roald Amundsen of Norway, both driven by ambition, both convinced they could conquer the last great unknown, both unaware of how differently their stories would end. Amundsen understood Antarctica as an adversary that demanded respect. He studied the Inuit. He learned from those who survived the cold. He chose dogs over men, skis over pride, efficiency over glory. Every decision was calculated, every movement precise. Scott believed in endurance, in courage, in the power of human will. He trusted ponies that froze. He trusted motor sledges that failed. He trusted that determination could overcome physics. Antarctica made no distinction between bravery and preparation. Amundsen reached the pole first and left. He did not linger. He did not celebrate. He survived. Scott arrived weeks later, only to find a flag already planted. What followed was not defeat, but attrition. Cold tightened, food ran out, strength faded. One by one, his team fell behind. Then silent. Scott's final words were written as the temperature dropped and the wind pressed against the tent walls. He did not curse the land. He accepted it. Antarctica had not betrayed him. It had simply remained what it always was. Indifferent. Their bodies remain here still entombed beneath snow and ice, preserved by cold so absolute it halts decay itself. In Antarctica, death does not erase. It suspends. These men are they are held. Today exploration continues, but in a different form. Research stations dot the coastline, and interior, fragile outposts of light in months of darkness. Inside, scientists live in isolation unlike anywhere else on Earth. No trees, no horizons that change. No escape from the same faces, the same walls, the same wind. Winter locks them in. For months, planes cannot land. Ships cannot approach. Communication is delayed. The sun disappears. Time stretches. The mind begins to turn inward. In Antarctica, isolation is not a metaphor. It is physical. Psychologists study this place because it strips humanity to its core. Without distraction, the mind amplifies everything. Sounds feel louder. Silence is heavier. Small conflicts grow sharp edges. Loneliness becomes tangible. Some describe a phenomenon known as the third quarter effect. Morale drops not at the beginning, not at the end, but somewhere in the middle, when the return still feels impossibly far away. Antarctica teaches patience, or it breaks you. Outside the station walls, the wind ever stops. The ice shifts and groans like something alive. The temperature punishes exposed skin instantly. Even experienced researchers know that one mistake, one moment of distraction, can become fatal. And yet they stay, because Antarctica offers something no other place can: a mirror. Here, humanity is reduced to its essentials. There is no illusion of control, no sense of dominance. Technology helps, but it does not protect completely. The environment always has the final say. In this landscape, explorers of the past and scientists of the present are connected by the same truth. Antarctica does not care who you are. It does not reward courage. It does not punish arrogance. It simply exists, unchanged by intention. And that is what makes it so powerful. The ghosts of explorers are not warnings carved in stone. They are reminders written in ice. That survival here depends not on desire, but on humility. As the polar night deepens, lights glow softly from the stations dwarfed by darkness. Beyond them lies a continent that remains exactly as it was long before humans arrived, and will likely remain long after we are gone. Antarctica does not need us, but it offers us something rare: perspective. At the end of the world, surrounded by ice and silence, we are forced to confront who we are. When stripped of comfort, of certainty, of control. And in that confrontation, the ghosts still watch, not to judge, but to remind that some places on Earth are not meant to be conquered, only understood. Antarctica has always changed. Ice advances, ice retreats. Glaciers breathe flow and reshape the land beneath them over timescales far beyond human memory. But today, something is different. The rhythm has accelerated. For millions of years, Antarctica has acted as Earth's great stabilizer. A frozen giant holding back oceans, reflecting sunlight into space, regulating temperatures across the planet. Its vast ice sheets locked away enough water to raise global sea levels by tens of meters. if ever released. For a long time, that release seemed unthinkable. Now, it is no longer hypothetical. On the edge of West Antarctica lies Thwaites Glacier. Massive, remote, nearly the size of a small country. Scientists call it the Doomsday Glacier. Not because it will end the world, but because of what it reveals. Thwaites is no longer stable. Warm ocean currents slip beneath its floating edges, melting the ice from below. Cracks widen. Ice shelves fracture. What once acted as a buttress holding the glacier back is weakening. This is not a collapse you can see from one day to the next. It is quieter than that. The ice thins, the grounding line retreats. The glacier begins to slide, faster. If Thwaites fails completely, it could trigger the collapse of surrounding ice. Unlocking a chain reaction across West Antarctica. Sea levels would rise, not by centimeters, but by meters. Coastlines would redraw themselves, cities would flood. Entire nations would face disappearance. And Antarctica would not stop there. The frozen giant holds far more than ice. Beneath the surface, ancient carbon lies trapped in frozen ground and ocean sediments. As ice retreats and waters warm, these systems awaken. Feeding feedback loops that amplify change even further. Antarctica does not melt in isolation. What happens here reshapes weather systems, ocean currents, and climates thousands of kilometers away. Storms intensify, heat waves linger, seasons lose their reliability. The farthest continent on Earth reaches into every home. This is why Antarctica matters. Not as an abstract place of ice and science, but as a living part of a connected planet. And yet, Antarctica is not dying. It is responding, Ice has always moved. Glaciers have always calved. The continent has survived warmer periods before. But never with a force capable of changing the atmosphere itself in a matter of centuries. That force is Buddha's. The warning Antarctica offers is not dramatic. There are no explosions, no sudden endings. Only steady change, measurable, undeniable, irreversible once thresholds are crossed. But within this warning lies something else. Choice. Unlike the explorers of the past, we are not trapped in a tent, waiting for the wind to decide our fate. We have knowledge. We have full foresight. We can see the patterns forming, while there is still time to respond. The ice is telling a story, layer by layer. It records temperatures, storms, and atmospheric. Manosphere's long gone. And now, it records us. Our emissions, our warming oceans, our decisions. Antarctica does not accuse. It does not demand. It reflects. As the light fades across the ice and shadows stretch once more, the continent returns to silence. Glaciers groan, icebergs drift, snow falls softly over cracks that widen year by year. Life continues, in penguin colonies, beneath ice shelves, in the deep, dark water below. Hope still exists here. Not in the idea of freezing time, but in slowing it. In protecting what remains. In understanding that some systems once lost cannot simply be rebuilt. Antarctica teaches us humility. It reminds us that we are small, but not powerless. At the end of the world, surrounded by ice older than civilization, we are given a rare opportunity. To listen, to learn, and to decide what kind of future will be written into the ice that remains. Because the frozen giant is waking. And how we respond will echo far beyond the coldest place on Earth. Into every ocean, every shoreline, and every generation yet to come.